soy yo Vicky otra vez. It's me, Vicky, again. Okay, in today's video, en el video de hoy, vamos a mirar, we're going to look at la pronunciación de los vocales en español. So the pronunciation of vowels in Spanish. So what I found generally with my students, the vowels are the most difficult of the letters to pronounce in Spanish because, of course, they're completely different to how we pronounce them in English. So if we think of the vowels, which are in English are A, E, I, O, U, yeah, the 5 vowels in the English alphabet. Same in Spanish, they're called vocales, 5 vocales, but they're pronounced completely different. So instead of A, E, I, O, U, we have A, E, I, O, U. Okay, so very different pronunciation, and these are the letters that can make the difference between whether you're understood or not. Even if you've got the right word, you say your sentence, ask your question perfectly, except you don't pronounce the vowels correctly, and that you will not be understood if you don't pronounce your vowels correctly. Okay, so we're going to look at the first one, the A, yeah, and our first word, now A is always A. This is the easiest one, I think, because it's never pronounced any differently. It doesn't matter which letter it follows, doesn't matter if it's got an accent on it. It's always pronounced exactly the same. So let me take this over here. I never quite know where to hold the thing. So our first word is manzana. So we've got 3 as, and they're all as. Manzana. If you're ever not sure how to pronounce a word in Spanish, break it down into syllables. That's the easiest way to pronounce a word in Spanish. Don't try and say it too quickly. Say it slowly. And then as time goes on, your speed increases. But in the beginning, you have to speak slowly because you have to get the sounds right. And it's harder to get them right if you panic and you try and say it too quickly. So, manzana. Then we've got, which is apple, if you don't know. Then we've got school, which is escuela. Escuela. Now, actually, it's a very good example as well because it has also got in it an E, which in Spanish is e, and a U, which in Spanish is U. So we've got escuela, escuela. Then we've got just A's in the next one, trabaja, which means he or she works. It's from the verb to work, trabajar, and this is the 3rd person singular, will it be a he or she or an it? So, trabaja. Now, then this next one, I've noticed my students quite often pronounce incorrectly. So, because this is pagar, not pegar. I suppose because it is the verb to pay, so it's easy for people to think it's say pegar. No, pagar and casa. I've noticed the thing is the A in Spanish, it's a short A, like in how we pronounce it in the north of England, like grass and glass, not grass and glass, like people say in the south. That's the way you speak. It's not an R, it's an A. So we don't say casa or pagar. We've got to remember, you've got to think of the northern way of pronouncing things, which is the short, I call it the short A. So it's like, as I say, glass instead of glass, grass instead of grass, etc. So remember, short A. Manzana, escuela, trabaja, pagar, casa. Okay, so then we've got the what for us in English is the E, but of course in Spanish it's not E, it's E. Elefante. One that my students quite often get wrong is the next one, camiseta, not camiseta. It's not an E in Spanish, it's an E. Camiseta. Tiene. Beber, not vivir, because that is to live. You know, if you say vivir, because people are thinking, of course, in English it's an E, so they say beber. No, because in Spanish it's an E. Beber. Beber. And then I picked the last one. Oh, sorry, and that's the verb to drink. So we've got elefante, which is elephant. Camiseta, t-shirt. Tiene, he, she, or it has, from the verb to have. Beber, to drink, the verb to drink. And I chose comienza because it's got 3 of the vowels in it. Oh, actually it's got 4 yet. So comienza. Remember, syllables to start with until you get better at it. Comienza. Okay, so we've got elefante, camiseta, tiene, bebé, comienza. As always, if there's anything that you want to query, you don't understand, or any particular video you'd like me to do, explain the pronunciation of something or how something works, leave me a comment and I will do that. This is the trickiest one. Well, this combined with the because in English, E, we think of this letter, don't we? But we've got to think completely different. When we say E in Spanish, we mean I. So, aspirina, not aspirina, aspirina. And literally, I know from experience, because I heard this actually happened to somebody I knew, actually asking for aspirina, which you think it's not much different from aspirina, the doctor couldn't understand a word that they were saying. So absolutely couldn't understand. So aspirina, impossible, iglesia, that's not an accent above there. It looks a bit like an accent, it's not, it's just a normal I. Now I picked iglesia and inglés because people get them mixed up all the time. What you've always got to remember is iglesia, church, doesn't have an N in it. Yeah, it's not iglesia, it's iglesia. Whereas English, inglés, does have an N in it. So that, lots of British people go around saying they are churches. So, inglés, iglesia. And then vivir, yeah, to live. So this is the word that if you said the one I was looking at previously, beber, if you said it wrong and said bibir, it would sound like you were saying this instead of to drink, you were saying to live. So we've got aspirina, which obviously is aspirin, impossible, which is impossible, iglesia, inglés, vivir. Yeah, and it's funny because these 2 top words, of course, they're very similar to the English. So you think they'd be, but believe me, if you say the vowel wrong, pronounce the vowel wrong, you won't be understood, even though the word is practically identical to, even though you know the word that you're saying is so similar. If you try and say it if you try and say it in an English way instead of a Spanish way, even though the word is practically identical, it won't be understood. Okay, so that's the E. So the E and the E, they're the 2 that people get wrong the most. Then we've got the O, or in Spanish, it's not O, it's oh, oh. So, of course, we don't pronounce the H's in Spanish, so we've got hotel, hospital, Then the next one, those two are obvious what they mean what they look like they mean. Don't forget not to pronounce the H though. Again, if you, that's something that's important. So no H is pronounced in Spanish. Hotel, hospital. Then we've got tocar, which is to play, is to touch or to play an instrument, such as the piano, guitar. A lot of my students say tocar. Tocar, no. Tocar, like TikTok, like in talk. Tocar. Coger. So coger is to catch, as in catch a bus or a plane or something. And again, not o, coger. And the G is a h sound, coger. And then I picked periodico just because it's got quite a few O's in it. Periodico. And not, it's got lots of syllables, so it's a good practice for syllables. Periodico. Periodico. Now, see where the accent is over the first O. If it wasn't there, it'd be periodico. Periodico, because the natural stress is on the I, but the accent is there to tell us to stress that letter, periodico. So yeah, just keep practicing. Honestly, it's so important in Spanish. Even if you're just sitting at home reading them out, and I know then you've not got, well, you could compare them with the video, obviously, to practice, or if you've got any of my audios for the books, etc. But it doesn't really matter, because what I think it matters is getting your mouth around the words. So you will say it wrong at first. I think the other thing you've just got to know is you will do it wrong. You know, it's not to be ashamed of or to worry about. If you could open your mouth and just speak perfect Spanish from word to go, you would not need Spanish classes. It's impossible. You need to practice to perfect your accent. Practice, even if it's just reading things out loud at home. Get your mouth around, get familiar with the words, and then bit by bit, the perfection comes with practice. Okay. Now, I mean, having said that, you always have to remember, whatever nationality you are, you're not Spanish. So don't think, you know, that you are going to sound like a Spanish person, because that's difficult. But often you speak better Spanish than a Spanish person. You think about people who learn English, how well they speak English. We don't all speak like that. But yeah, you may always have an accent, you know, a British accent or whatever, you know. Spanish people tend to know where people come from when they're speaking Spanish, but that doesn't mean to say they don't understand them. That's the important thing. Communication, isn't it? Okay, and the last vowel, which is U, which in Spanish is oo. So maybe I shouldn't have put the H on the end. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think if it's just oo, that might be more like oh? So yeah, oo. Urgente, urgent. Murcia, uno, uso, autobús. Yeah? Urgente, Murcia, uno, uso, autobús. So it's an U, not a U. Okay? Well, yeah. So I hope you found that video useful. If you have, please give me the thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and remember that to subscribe is free, completely free. And thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Every single one of you, thank you. And I'll see. Oh, sorry, I should be doing it in Spanish. Os veo en el próximo video. Adiós.